Friday, September the 19th, 2025, and I'm down in Essex today on the Southend line, Rochford, southeast Essex, about to undertake a 10-miler from here to Paglesham East End, which was inspired by country walking magazine's Paglesham Circular. So because that starts in Paglesham with no railway line, I've decided to amend it slightly, start here in Rochford, follow the Roach Valley Way out to Paglesham, well, for the most part anyway. There is some coast path involved, and catch the bus back, all being well. Absolutely cracking day today for walking, between two dodgy days. Yesterday was pretty rough, tomorrow's not going to be much better, but today, wedged in between them, we've got a lovely day. Not a cloud in the sky, low 20s temperature wise, and a bit of a cooling southwesterly, surprisingly. So yeah, it's about 11:30 now. The bus back is at 10 to 5, so shouldn't have any problems there. Let's get cracking and see what awaits. I'm using a self-created GPX today, using the very useful OS Maps app. Not much of a station to look at. Little bit of a stroll through the old town currently. Got an old water pump here in the market square, donated by Adrian Chapman, 2002. To the Horse and Groom pub, which has a seafood cabin over there, takeaway. We now join the Roach Valley Way. So it didn't take long to get here, about 5 minutes. Should be pretty straightforward henceforth. Lots of dumping going on down here, Essex County Council. Shocking. Bit more ahead of me as well over there. Bit of an eyesore so far, this Watts Lane. There is the marker for the Roach Valley Way, which is a 23-mile LDWA. LDW actually, per the LDWA. Runs around from Hockley to Rochford, and there are other bits of it that I will do later on now I've discovered it. Coming out into open countryside, and as is often the case in Essex, pylons are an eyesore. It'd be even worse if they stick those up in with the new power station going up in Suffolk. Some kind of industrial units on the right as well. Now reaching a wider part of the Crouch, presumably. First mile down, not very impressive thus far. Lots of urban influence, which I'm not a great fan of. Little egret over there though, amongst the urban environment. They've adapted pretty well. Coming out into a cricket pitch. Well, clearly that doesn't apply now, because we're now end of September. So finally leaving the urban area of Rochford behind us and getting into more like what I was expecting. Wonderful. Just make out the church at Great Stanbridge there. Bit breezier than I was expecting, I must admit. I was anticipating top speeds of mid-20s. Feels a bit more than that to me. Not to worry. Get my last bit of tan of the summer. Monday the 22nd being the autumn equinox. Where's the year gone? Just reached a place called the Waldens on the map. And just opposite, some old vessel rotting away there in the river. Pretty decent walking underfoot, just on top of the seawall. Pretty much the whole day actually. Agriculture on the left, river on the right. And as I've said on these kind of walks before, the amount of litter that gets dumped by the high tides is horrendous. You imagine the acreage that there is out in the middle of the sea. Really is shocking the way man's destroyed this planet. Fridges, chunks of wood, plastic's a killer though. Very odd looking thing this is. So last time out we had Gatwick aircraft noise. Today got Southend Airport nearby. In fact it's the next station after Rochford. Hasn't been too bad thus far. But it just goes to show it's hard in the southeast to escape aircraft noise, unfortunately. I remember using Southend Airport in 2013, 12 time, not long after it opened, and the view you get when you're coming in, as this one is doing, of the Essex marshlands and estuaries is wonderful. Really is, what's the word? Shows how cut up it is by nature. And consequently the coast path is quite problematical around these little inlets. We leave the coast path shortly, continue on the Roach Valley Way going inland. Smells like human excrement here. It's all up the banks as well. Horrible smell. So as I said, we leave the coast path here, just outside Barton Hall. Coast path goes up that lane. Well, in fact, we go up that lane as well, because I haven't reached Barton Hall yet. Which may be that property over there. Just passing Barton Hall, which also smells rather unpleasant. God knows what that is. Security cameras just outside on the driveway. Leaving the Crouch behind us for a little while now. Heading towards lunch at Paglesham Church End. Yep, one church on this walk. And at this point we're at the walk's high point of around 53 feet, believe it or not. Height level ranges today from 0 to where I am now, 53 foot. It will be interesting to see what it is at the church, mind you, because they're usually at the highest point. So this is classic Essex County Council. Roach Valley Way continues down this rather overgrown path. Doesn't look like it's walked very often, so let me see if there's an alternative. I'm trying the field margin that runs alongside the official path there. That looks like Paglesham over there, engulfed in wind farms. Such a waste of time they are. I mean, we're going to be building more nuclear power stations, I heard this week. So if you're building one, why not build many? Because the risk to the environment, etc., is just the same whether you build one or 17,000. So if we're going to have nuclear, might as well whip these wind farms down on land and sea, and the solar panel fields, and focus on the nuclear. Preserve our countryside. See, there's the way marker. Doesn't look like it's used though, that path. So it should come out here. So presently the OS map is incorrect because it's showing it through that copse or tree margin, tree line. Standing on the edge of Stannett's Creek, which apparently used to be navigable up to Paglesham once upon a time. And we leave the Roach Valley Way here. Not sure if I've been calling it the correct name earlier. Might have called it Crouch. Old age creeping in. Anyway, the Roach Valley Way turns off right there. We continue straight ahead towards Paglesham. Horrible smell from the Barton Hall a minute ago. It's actually these old seashells. Absolutely reek. There's a pile of them here for some reason. Must be used for some kind of manure. Sunflowers on my left, turning over now. Not very good height, mind you. Poor crop. So, path hasn't been reinstated here. Although you could argue it was cut within 2 weeks. Allowed, I should say. It's funny, they've left the path on the margin, but then haven't reinstated it for the majority of the crossing. My lunchtime stop just comes into view. Just done 6 miles. Here we are. Don't know the name of this church yet. It looks like St Peter's from what I can see. St Peter's Evangelical. Yep, there you go, St Peter's. Difficult to get a good shot of it though. Interesting tree line up to the door. Look like lime. Interesting little information panel here. Seems the church is open. Wonderful bracket fungus there. And when I looked on Google Street View, this seemed to be the only seat available. but I will check round the back. That must be the eco toilet. So thank you Mildred and Valerie Thompson. 5 to 2. Lunch is about to be served. So let's have a quick look in the church, St Peter's, Paglesham. The great and the good. And that's who he is. That looks like one of those clippers that you get from Malden. Can't remember what they're called specifically, but I've seen them up in Wapping. Wonderful little place. As usual, a bit about the organ. That appears to go back to GR, George. Amazing. A view back. Church from the rear, albeit I've got the sun against me here. 2:30, lunch has been had now, by the way. Okay, let's continue on through the village and hopefully be able to get that bus at 10 to 5. As I say, just gone 2:30 now. About 4 miles to do by my guesstimation. There did used to be an old post office here.
You want me, mate? Yeah. Come on, then. Where do you want this strap?
I didn't realise this pub was here. It's not shown on the OS map, but there is another pub, the Punch Bowl, here in Church End. So as well as the one in the East End, where I'm catching the bus later, you've got this option as well, if you so wish to have a lunchtime stop. Come off the lane now, still following the Roach Valley Way, walking alongside another ditch where we branch away from the Roach Valley Way in a second. I should have said we rejoined it because previously obviously we weren't on it. But there are fish in this ditch, funnily enough, despite the farmer behind me spraying fertiliser on the fields. So left for the Roach Valley Way, and not signposted yet, I notice, is the King Charles III English Coast Path, which is what we'll be following. And back up on the sea defence wall, you can see the tide is well out. A parting shot of St Peter's. This is Paglesham Creek on my left, and ahead of me is the marina where that wind farm is, which has a ferry crossing to Burnham on Crouch, which is one way that I considered of doing this walk. But the ferry at the moment is only running on Wednesdays and weekends, and due to the weather that's a bit precarious as well, and it stops at the end of September unfortunately. But that is an option that I want to do in the future. Come via Burnham on Crouch station, get the ferry across, and then walk the path through to Hockley. First pillbox of the day, surprisingly. Now you can see there how far the water's gone out. Must be at its lowest point now. It's nadir. Haven't updated the signage yet. So yeah, Burnham in the distance. Across the other side of the Crouch. Mean times on this side. The tide is turning by the looks of the river. Plenty of little egrets around. Interesting, a stile. First one of the day, and presumably it was there for when cattle were around. There's a gate down there as well, so they must have cattle in here at some point in the past maybe. Flock of geese over there. Canadas, I think. This is Paglesham Pool on the map. This area on my right is Clement's Marsh per the map. Whence I've come. And as you can see, the water level is rising, so the tide is on its way in again. Another squadron of Canadas, I do believe. I do prefer this side to the Burnham side, having done that Burnham walk not so many months back. It's much more peaceful this side, apart from the odd jet, not too many of them either. I haven't met a soul today, really tranquil. And I can see in the distance over there cattle on the Burnham side. And of course, I haven't encountered any on this side yet. Wonderful. So yeah, I will try and do the Burnham ferry crossover and do the Roach Valley Way back to Hockley on another occasion, but I doubt it'll be this year. Ferry starts again in April, so some time hence. So at this juncture, having come through that metal gate, to save yourself 10 minutes on the journey or thereabouts, you could do a right here and follow that path yonder back into Paglesham that way. But seeing as I've got plenty of time, I'm going to continue on the coast path, which is around about just over another mile, So yeah, I'll complete the walk as I planned it, but I did have this back out option here if I needed it. Wonder how long that's been there. As we now approach the Roach again, the river in the distance there, and our second pillbox of the day, very strategically placed. Another bit of industrial heritage here. Maybe someone who's local knows about this. Definitely foundations here of some kind. And I know on the other bank it's a danger zone. Military training, I should imagine. Certainly marked on the map as a danger zone. Well, well, well. HMS Beagle, 1847, was stationed here and was connected with Darwin. Took him on his expeditions around the world, apparently. Google that if you're interested for more information. So at this jetty we take this footpath to the right, coming off the coast path now, back into Paglesham. Not sure what's going on here, but it looks like a lot of people are clocking off. It's 4 o'clock almost now. Passing Shuttlewoods Boatyard, established 1895. So here we are, 10.49, so 10.5 miles, 3 hours 47. Wonderful, pleasantly quiet walk that. Just come out of there. So it's a shame the pub doesn't open until 5, and that the bus picks up at 10 to 5, the last bus back, because you can't integrate the two. But there you go. Can't have it always, I suppose. Would have been nice now to sit at one of those tables, nice cold drink, waiting for the bus. As soon as I've got a good 40-minute wait now. Anyway, very good walk, inspired by Country Walking's Paglesham Circular, which I've amended. Weather was absolutely wonderful. Probably the last good day of the season now, I would imagine. Swallows and house martins are still here. I did see a harrier of one type, but couldn't catch it on camera, whether it was hen, which are down this coast apparently, or marsh, I do not know. Plenty of other birds around, marsh wading birds that I'm not really familiar with. But yeah, a very good walk that. I will be back in this area, as I say, to do the remainder of this walk, the Roach Valley Way. But until the next time, take care.